Hi everybody, it's Ellen Jaffe Jones, and I am doing a live here from my little wall of awards. So this past weekend I did the Haven Jingle and Jog 5K, and I got third in my age group, sub 35K time, and of course everybody got medals for finishing. That seems to be the trend, although quite a bit of waste of metal there, but I'll donate these at some point to recycling or wounded warriors or whatever they can be used for. But the reason I'm talking about this is because all my races are memorable, but this one was particularly memorable because there was so much we had to run through. And, like doing Facebook Lives, I'm also checking in to see if we're getting any viewers. I know a lot of people will watch it on the replay. So I will jump into the um, what I think is significant part of what I want to talk about, which is this race was for the benefit of a home for um, disabled citizens of the Sarasota Bradenton community. And most of them, I would say, were adults, but there were some younger people there. And it's supposed to be this healthy event, right? A 5K. But there they had barbecue pits all over. They were barbecuing hamburgers, hot dogs, as they often do at 5K races. And there were just huge plumes of smoke. And then when they would throw fresh meat on the fire, it would just erupt in big flames so that everybody's attention was caught. Like, is there a building catching on fire? It was that, the flames were that large. I mean, they were like rooftop high from the barbecue pit. And so when we crossed the finish line, we had to run through all that. We had to run past a petting zoo that had two llamas that were being held with ropes around their neck. For what? For the benefit of the children? I mean, there's such a disconnect at these races that are supposed to be health focused. That's why, as you know, I've done a Facebook Live not all that long ago. Back on Halloween, I paid to be the primary sponsor for the title sponsor for a local 5K, the Boo Run, that would have all vegan food. That was my condition because I'm so sick of 40 years of racing and seeing this horrific food at the finish line. And then, as a runner, you have to sometimes, like I did at this race, run through it. I posted all these still pictures if you want to see them on my Facebook page, Ellen Jaffe Jones. But the picture that's really gone viral that I posted was from I took a picture of an empty stroller, big, nice, expensive, probably hundreds of dollars it cost for this stroller. It had, because, a child can't go for a walk without eating, it had like a high chair tray across the front of it so you could put food or toys on it. And there was the whole tray was covered with this large hot dog. There's probably a choking hazard by itself with a white flour hot dog bun. And again, the United Nations has categorized processed meats as a carcinogen, so we shouldn't be eating these things anyway. And it just there was a health club, LA Fitness, that was a sponsor, as well as New Balance, the shoe company, and they want to be associated with healthy events. And I'm on the board and have been on the board of running clubs throughout my 40-year running career, and I understand how terribly hard it is to get volunteers, to get people to be a sponsor, and to organize these races. I mean, you talk about a Vegfest being a headache. Races are also incredibly challenging, and lots of things can and do go wrong. So I hate to be critical, but if we are setting up a role model, and the reason I am critical is because these races attract, this race was about 700 racers, so that's all their friends, all their family, the community, surrounding community that's coming out, the potential to reach thousands of people, especially a huge amount of children. I know of no other community events that attract so many children other than 5K races. And so that's why it breaks my heart to see like hot dogs on stroller trays, or kids just running through this smoke and thinking, that's part of being healthy. And there was so little vegan food either. That was the other part of this problem, that is not just at this race, but at races all over the place. So they had donuts, they had I didn't get too close to it, so other than the charred animal remains, there was a back room where the registration, no, I take it back. I don't even think the registration was there. It was where the bathrooms were, but it was inside, and not a lot of people, a lot of the public saw it, but they had apples, oranges, and bananas, which is that's actually two more things than they usually have at races for vegans. Usually we're lucky if we get just bananas. So that is so that's the challenge. I don't think people realize, what, as a vegan runner, what we have to put up with. And I just wish there was more um, buy-in out there. This is we just recently did the Tampa Vegfest. I'm on the board of Florida Voices for Animals that puts that on. So we are getting the word out there. All these veg fests are growing around the country, and that's cool. And I've been doing this since 2011. I mean, I've been racing and running a lot longer than that, but, keeping track of it, trying to get this out there. I don't think there are too many 66-year-old women who are running as much as I am, let alone placing. And that's the thing, especially on a vegan diet, to show how healthy it can be and how much it can save your life, which it certainly has done for me. And I see this certainly on a daily basis on social media. And, just trying to get more organizers to understand what healthy really is. I've seen hospitals be the sponsors of 5K races, and then they have Dunkin' Donuts as their main source of food and main sponsor for what they're doing. And, that's just not right. It's not right to the next generation. We're dealing with red tide here in Florida, as I've mentioned, and, we're not going to have our beaches very long. It's just killing the wildlife. And some people have speculated maybe there's no wildlife left in the Gulf of Mexico. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean the problem's there. I posted, as I always do, a red tide update on my Facebook page. And there's a great site called, Facebook page called Red Tide Awareness or something like that. And, so a person who's a Facebook friend says, well, I've never gone to the beach, so I don't really care, basically. It's like, well, yes, you need to care. And this post was actually a Red Tide Rick Scott, our newly elected senator, who just has always had a reputation of being in bed with corporate interests. Even when I worked at Smith Barney as a financial consultant, I couldn't believe he got into politics. It's like this guy was like borderline. But anyway, certainly not a supporter of or an acceptor of these environmental issues that we have, and is not about to do anything about red tide or the human contribution to it. So there are some people on Facebook who are saying just don't even move to Florida because of this problem that we're having. So go vegan, y'all. I hear the dog whining. So Rusty the Rescue, he's so adorable. He's doing really well. We adopted him about a year ago, but I think he wants to go outside. So we're going to go run, and got the National Senior Games qualifier this weekend up in Clearwater for the state of Florida. Don't know if I'll make it. I got an injury, a brief injury from... So the short story is we had a running clinic and some guy came, and I didn't warm up first, which is a no-no, and we weren't instructed to do that. So I overdid the warm-ups and got a little glute pain, or not warm-up, but actually the clinic demo that he was doing. All right, so somebody's coming in the door, gotta run, and talk to you later.